because I
Yeah,
too would love to hear more of what the judges are saying. You know,
yeah.
I would
I
love
would,
to hear
I would,
more the questions
yeah,
they ask or whatever.
yeah. Oh, look, and that's look, and it's great to talk to you, on a one-on-one, and even
Yeah,
if there's a couple jump in and jump out.
yeah,
But I don't know too many people who actually want to really do this kind of journey because we're not. You remember when we went through some of the notices?
hmm
It actually can put people into a comatose. Like by going through it, there's something that happens. I don't know what it is. It's. I actually love it, but when I first started it, I didn't realise what happened to me. I was resisting it. I didn't like looking at the letter. I didn't like going through the letter because I was pretty much in hardcore possession, but I couldn't figure out why I was very resistant to these letters that were basically, fucking. They were the one thing that I was resisting. That was like the builders reject the cornerstone,
that's
which
right.
are basically the offers from the fucking the ivory towers. From the central towers, and no one knows whether it's the IRS or whether it's government or whatever you want to call it. Call it as an instrument, as a natural resource, as an opportunity to without going back through the system. And I find that that's probably why it's the hardest thing for most people. And this just, I'm speaking that because I'm yet to come across too many, if any, other than yourself, who's somehow just going, hey, is there more to this? And that's where, even going through that letter, like the last call that
hmm
we went on, and how long was I just talking about? I think it was just not even one or two sentences into it,
Right.
and we could speak nearly 2-3 hours just breaking it down. I
That's
mean,
right.
that's the sort of head fuck that's going on. Who wants to do it, brother? As I said, you won't find too many people who will fucking do that. I can tell you now. And I don't know if there will be anyone on the back calls who will want to do that either, because from day dot, it's always been to ignore the primal forces of nature and to ignore all of these offers. And that's why I didn't realise, and through the deep scrutiny of a lot of these so-called calls, is ignoring it is by taking it for yourself. And then you take it for yourself, then you take it into your little voice within and take possession of it. And then from that you do nothing. You actually ignore all things. It's actually a real, oh, if there was such a thing as a problematic, something that was a big problem, is taking an offer for yourself by relying on your own understanding, and and
Mm.
and, and is there a consequence to relying on your own, um, on your own, on your thoughts,
Phew.
your assumptions, you
And
know.
if you do rely on your own understandings, will you be a delight to deal with, to talk to?
Good luck, because you become more attached to the stories and the dramas that lead to confusion, and confusion is just another word for possession of knowledge and information. You know,
Mm.
instead of um, um, keeping things, rather than actually insisting on your own way and taking it into yourself. It
Yeah.
wasn't meant nothing was meant to be taken into yourself. It
Mm.
was everything in the scripture was based on what comes out of the tongue.
Yeah.
Everything was like what defiles a man is not. If you look at the scripture, and this is very, very important, and I'd love you to bring it up, because if it's true, the scripture is talking, it's not what goes in a man that defiles him. In other words, you can put whatever you like inside yourself, but be careful what you do put into yourself, because it's going to come out of your mouth. And when it comes out of your mouth, that's what's going to defile you. So you might want to consider all things that are coming into your ears, and then what goes into your ears, you want to be careful what comes out of the mouth, because that's going to reveal everything about you.
I think I found the verse.
All right, because it's not what goes in you, because you can receive all the information, all the offers of the could it be's, but if you just accept it, if you just take it for what it is, and you're relying on your own way, well, then is that going to now defile you? You're going to be an abomination. Because when you start thinking, listen to the little voice within. How are you listening to what's going on around you? Because you're focusing on the two ears. Focus on the two ears, and then the little voice within is going to work with the right question. But you don't need to do anything with that. You just need to focus on actually the things that you're hearing, and that's why everything's in front of you. There's nowhere else. This is what's mind blowing, is because every offer is right in front of you. Every little thing that's going on is right in front of you. You don't have to go looking for the claimant. You don't have to go looking for the fucking phantom. You don't need to go looking for a rabbit warren or some phantom out there. You don't need to go seeking what do they call it? A witch hunt every single time an offer comes to you. Let's go look for a witch hunt. Let's go for the witch hunt now. It's right in front of you. Ask the proper question. Why are you here? Why are you here? Do I know you? What do you mean? Have you actually met them before? So if you've never met them before, how are you supposed to know them? Do I know you? Yeah. Very, very important questions, because imagine everything's in front of you, from a document, from a piece of paper. Consider the unknown factor. Is it from someone? All right, deal with the offer.
So is do I know you dealing with agreement in the earliest possible sense?
Yes. Because how can bring up that scripture where it says, how do two people meet in a park without agreeing to meet in the park? You can't meet in a park without two people agreeing to meet in the park, right? Now, if you've had a flying saucer arrive out of the sky and just suddenly jump down next to you right now and go, hey, our records indicate that you're in breach of this order and that order, and you're going, fuck, do I know you? Why are you here? Like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? There's no introduction, and you want to start talking to this fucking anomaly, this unknown force. Well, you're going to get fucked. You want to talk to the demonic force, and talk to the unknown factors, and start having intercourse with the demons, in a sense. You're the unknown force. You're opening yourself up, into all sorts of things. You need to watch that. There's a great scene in what's it? It's Raiders of the Lost Ark, and when they're opening up the covenant, and I think Harrison Ford, he goes to they're tied up, and he says, whatever you do, do not look, because when you open your eyes, you suddenly become possessed with knowledge. And he said to her, close your eyes. Everyone else died because their eyes were open, and they were so enchanted by all this knowledge and information. And then in the end, everyone perished. All the particles perished, and it went back into the box. And they were the only two that survived, because they didn't open their eyes and they lived through it. So in other words, what the fuck do you think you know?
Look, I was watching this. I love that you're bringing that up, because I was watching this police interaction earlier today, and the guy asked the police, "Why would I talk to you?" Which I thought was a fair question.
Yeah.
And the police said, "Because I think you have a warrant." And instead of like, like I
Now,
believe will
stop.
be the
Oh, that's good. That's good. What I'm going to do is I'm listening to you, because what I think, suddenly when you hear what I think,
yeah,
is I'm assuming there's a warrant. So
yeah,
you're focusing on the assumption of a warrant. In other words, do I know you?
yeah.
Do I know
Right.
you?
Do I know you?
Right. So, and now he's going to get more fucked up because he's got to explain himself. And then you keep asking, well, do I know you? There's no contract, no agreement, nothing there when you're asking that question. It's the most neutral question you can ask. And in
Right.
fact, if you don't believe it, then the only way to experience it is by doing it. And when you've got first-hand experience, that's the only way to realize, holy shit, the impact of those questions are like a nuclear bomb just going bang.
Right.
It's unbelievable. But you know, will you ever know it until you ask it?
That's
But be
right.
careful bringing up other information, because you'll end up
That's right.
fucking yourself either way.
That's right. Well, I thought it was I thought it was interesting because when he said, "Do you, I think you have a warrant?" Uh, I think the first question the man asked, "Why would I talk to you?" was pretty neutral. But then when the police officer introduced terminology, instead of remaining neutral, the guy replied, "You think I'm someone that I'm not." And I'm just, and then it goes, that sounds like a non-neutral statement, telling
Yeah,
somebody what
because you
they
brought
believe.
up a negative. You brought
Right.
up a negative,
Yeah.
and you're stepping into the hot coals,
Yeah. Yeah.
and you got the bare feet. Yeah, you think of yourself every time you open your mouth. You're on bare feet, and you're putting your feet on the hot coals every time you open your mouth without the proper question.
Mm.
So if it's true, that's why those scenarios that you're talking about, let's look at them. Let's look at them and find out why. And that's the same with one of the other brothers, who's very interested in on these calls. He keeps sending little voice recordings and so
Yeah.
forth. And maybe you could let him know of these calls when they're on, because it sounds like there are some brothers out there who want to listen to these so-called calls for some whatever reason. um, so that's why I love those audios and YouTubes and videos and God knows what, because they're a great opportunity to break them down and go through them.
That's right, brother. A great example of scrutiny, on them. Like you said, what are they doing that we're not doing? So it's a great
Yeah.
example of doing what they're doing. I
And,
believe.
yeah, and it's a two-way thing. Don't forget. I don't know. Look, I even believe it would be over where you guys are, because down here, I know this for a fact. They study you, and then when you're studying them, they are adjusting as you adjust. It's actually quite incredible. Imagine it's like a martial artist,
Yeah.
and it's like or actually the great movie is Revolver. There's a great movie Revolver where you're playing chess with a better opponent.
Yeah.
So you need to look at the coppers or the centurions. They're like a better opponent to you for training ground, and they're going to help fuck you up so that you can actually learn how to unfuck yourself.
Speaking of
They're actually helping you.
Right, right. Well, speaking of Revolver, brother, that would probably, like, to me, that would be interesting to hear, uh, your breakdown, if you have such a thing, of, maybe a scene or two, if you have a favorite scene of Revolver, brother, because I watched it, and to be honest, a lot of it spoke to me, but a lot of it was like, man, I can see how I would need to watch this
Yeah,
11 more times.
there's a lot to it. It's a lot. It's a bit like Interstate 60.
Yeah.
Interstate 60. It took me, fuck, mate. There's a court scene there where it
Mm.
says they're all in on it, and it means that no matter what it is, it's the systems it's set up against you, but the system is also it adjusts itself through the question. And if I've said to you that I've seen firsthand this happen down here, it's actually mind blowing. They don't miss a beat. Everything gets adjusted according to the proper question. and that's when you realise that, when you realise there are forces that govern the whole of these systems. It's actually mind blowing, and that's when you realise, oh, there is a force that governs all these things, everything,
See, brother, I've seen
every
tidbits.
particle.
I've
Say it
seen
again.
tidbits of this, brother. Like I've seen, like I told you, the judge told me, hey, everything you think you know, just forget it. So I mean, I've experienced, and I've asked, do I know you recently, and to agents. I mean, I've experienced and seen tidbits of this, but I have to, say I would love to hear or see of scenarios where it worked a little further than what I've been able to
Yeah,
experience.
yeah. Well, look, I guess in time, I've used this. I'm using. Don't forget, if I said that, I'm also updating the way I go into question modes, the way I used to question. I mean, it's just refining. It's
Yeah,
just slightly refining each time, and it gets better and better each time. So look, the best thing at this moment is if there's videos that people have where there's, scenarios where, coppers are stopping someone, and we can, there's a lot, there's actually a lot of cop shows here in this part of the world. They call it highway patrol, and the cops pull you over, and they basically they film the whole situation, and where the guys, people are making endless claims, they get the bill, and it's just a propaganda tool, but at the same time it works. But
yeah,
there's also the propaganda. There's the scope for the question. I used to watch a lot of these TV examples, and I would be with pen and paper writing down the questions they're asking the
yeah.
coppers, and then I remember going out on the road, and when they pulled me over, they were asking the same bloody question, right? And I remember he goes, "Oh, what's your reason for fucking this, this, and this?" And I go, "Well, what reason is one looking for?" So, I would start to find the mirror question. So I was
Yeah,
always focused on, all I would do is just look for the question.
yeah,
What's the question in what they're saying? And then I even refined it further. It's like, why are you here? Do I know you? And that even put more of a spanner in the works. It just it's constantly updating itself to become much more on point, and
yeah.
yeah, to a point where there's not much a centurion can do other than move on, find someone else.
Well, I mean, I've seen some cool examples, here from the States, but so many times the guys are making different arguments, and then somebody else will try, something that, the same argument later, and a different cop or a different state, and they'll just yank them out of the freaking thing,
That's right.
and
Yeah.
arrest them. So it seems to be, maybe there's some cops who are just, would rather avoid doing the paperwork,
Yeah, maybe. Look,
perhaps.
to me, I'm not really interested in so-called civilians or people in what they speak. I'm not even fake. I don't even listen most of the time. Very rarely do I listen to the shit that comes out of the mouth of any man. I'm only
Right.
focused on the copper or the agent,
Sure.
whatever they're asking. I'm only focused on that,
Sure.
and they're very on point down here in this part of the world. And oh my gosh, they're highly trained in the art of questions. And
Right.
yeah. So it's when you don't have a fear of them. You can look at them in the eye and you can ask them direct straight into them. Why are you here? Do I know you? Oh, there's an order here. Blah 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 blah. Do I know you?
What do you
So
mean by that?
yeah, what do you mean by that? Or do I know you? It's the when did we discuss this so-called order? When did you order some fries and a burger and chips for me? You know,
You know,
when was the last time that you put an order in for me? I'm yet to discuss this with you. When I said that on the bat calls and that, they thought this way of talking was absolutely ludicrous. When did I have a discussion with you? It's to do with, do I know you? So in other words, if I knew you, then I'd know about this order, correct?
yeah, could
So
be.
so you know, if I don't know you, what do I know about this fucking order? You know, does it come with fries or chips, or you know, is there a thick shake with that, or do I get the full burger? You know, and the whole family fucking tray with the fries, the chips, the you know, the thick shake, and God knows what else. Do I get the whole lot? That's why it's so important to this meeting of the mind. No, sorry, I'll rephrase it. What's so important is the where and when. In once you make a statement, it verifies that you are in some way, you've had some agreement with this unknown factor, unknown force in front of you, because you're starting to talk to him in hearsay. You're starting to talk to him in
Hey,
resistance.
Boon, can I
Yeah, go. What's this?
yeah, can I bother you for a second here?
Never bother. Is this money? Is it?
Yeah, money, Mike. I might have a little background noise, but hopefully it's not too disruptive. But I got a couple brief questions. This first one's got a sub question, but then first question is did that YouTube video that you uploaded, I guess, about the bat being all rowdy or something, and then you got like on the front of it, you got the graphics with the with subjects in it. It said something that said Mike's notice. I said, which Mike was that? Was that me or Mike Ray or somebody? Who was that?
Well, brother,
you're asking me about that?
Yeah.
Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, was
bro?
that you or was that Dominion that posted that? I don't know who posted that. Is it on the YouTube?
Brother, just to clarify, I believe it is you know, there you go, Boon, who is posting the videos to the channel, brother. Does that help, Money Mike? And I believe that one was referring to Mike Ray, who had shared the notice that was in the call. He spoke in the call, brother, at the beginning, but then he fell asleep. But it was his notice that we were going through, you know, and regardless of if he fell asleep, it was a beautiful review of his notice, or that notice. So yeah, it was Brother Mike Ray.
Oh, okay. And then the second one is I was wondering what was the software you guys used to make the artwork and the graphics?
Talk to Dominion about that one.
You know what, brother? Oh man, I'm unsure if I want to unleash the beast to everyone.
Hey, it's best that you don't, Dominion, because I'm loving it. Anyway, it's up to you, man. I love it. I think it's funny. Hey, you know what's good about those images is that I talk to you about the snakes and the water, and it gives you ideas, and it's a bit like the wooden idols. And I was saying, how do you find a wooden idol where the piece of paper is actually talking to the people? It's a little bit about, you know, that song, The Sound of Silence. And if you look at, you know, the neon god that we made, it's the TV's actually talking to the people, and the people start talking to this thing. So we start to become hypnotized in that shit. And that's why I love those sort of pictures.